Welcome to the Explainer. So look, if you work in warehousing, retail, or manufacturing, you already know the sheer dread that comes with physical inventory counts. It is an absolute massive headache, right? Today, we're unpacking a complete buyer's guide that's going to show you exactly how purpose-built cycle counting software can stop this inventory nightmare completely dead in its tracks.
Let's paint a picture here, and honestly, this might feel a little too familiar for some of us. Picture this. It's 11 p.m., your warehouse team is totally exhausted, but they're still out there counting. You got spreadsheets open on 3 different laptops, someone is literally reading SKU numbers out loud off a paper clipboard, and frankly, everyone just wants to go home and forget what a barcode even is. But the absolute worst part of this late-night warehouse nightmare? By the time all these handwritten, scrambled numbers get reconciled tomorrow, half of them won't even match what's in your system anyway. It's chaotic, it's beyond frustrating, and let's be real, manual entry just was not built for this kind of scale.
Which leads us to a really critical question. Are you making crucial business decisions based on inventory data that is already stale? Think about it. Because when you rely on a massive quarterly full count that literally takes 4 days of total operational shutdown to pull off, well, your data is effectively obsolete the very minute it's finally reconciled. You're flying blind out there. You're making major purchasing and sales calls based on ghost data.
And we're not just talking about some minor inconvenience here. Get this. $90 to $112 billion. According to recent industry reports, that staggering number is the estimated annual cost of U.S. retail shrinkage alone. That's billion with a B. The longer you wait between counts, well, the more expensive those blind spots become.
But here's what's truly surprising about how that shrinkage actually breaks down. A full 1/5, that's 20%, of median inventory loss comes strictly from administrative errors. We're talking about simple cycle count discrepancies, basic data entry mistakes, and mispriced or misplaced goods. This isn't shoplifting or crazy supplier fraud, guys. This is literally just internal process failure.
And the thing is, those tiny administrative errors, they spiral completely out of control through compounding costs. A single miskeyed digit on a spreadsheet today quietly becomes a massive stockout 3 weeks down the line. A missed bin location, that turns into a frustrated customer and an unfulfilled order. For a mid-size operation, these little manual spreadsheet errors compound at scale into panic-induced emergency reordering, phantom stock, and actual 6- or 7-figure revenue leakage every single year.
So let's pivot. Section 1. What is cycle counting?
Let's strip away all the industry jargon and just define this clearly. Cycle counting is simply a digital system where you count a subset of your inventory on a rolling, scheduled basis, rather than shutting down your whole operation for a massive physical count. So instead of counting everything all at once, you just count a little bit, often. It's like a pulse check. For instance, if you have 10,000 items sitting in your warehouse, you might just count your 200 highest priority, fastest moving items every single week. And honestly, this simple shift completely flips the script on how you manage a warehouse. The core benefits are a massive upgrade from the status quo. First off, you get continuous accuracy instead of just a once-a-year snapshot. Plus, there's absolutely no operational shutdown required, meaning the counting happens right alongside your normal picking and packing. You also get much faster discrepancy detection. That means you're catching theft, damage, or misshelving while the evidence is actually still fresh. And finally, you get significantly lower audit labor costs per count.
Moving right along to Section 2, the showdown, manual counting versus modern software.
When you actually compare these methods side by side, the limitations become pretty obvious. Things like manual counting and Excel, they offer low to medium accuracy at best, they're painfully slow, and they offer zero offline capability. Then, of course, you have traditional ERP systems. Now, sure, the accuracy there is high, but they can be super rigid, offline capability is actually surprisingly rare, and the implementation takes weeks or even months. But when you look at modern software like StockCount, it's a total game changer. This purpose-built tool delivers high accuracy, it's lightning fast thanks to mobile scanning, it works totally offline, and the implementation takes mere days, not months.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the solution, the stock count advantage.
Let's look at how simple and actionable this software actually is in the real world. StockCount breaks the entire audit down into a really rapid 5-step process. Step 1, you just create the audit, picking a specific zone or product category. Step 2, you assign your team with specific role-based access. Step 3, your team hits the floor and simply scans barcodes. Step 4, the system automatically verifies those counted quantities against your system records in real time.
And finally, step 5, it instantly generates variance reports. There's no manual data compilation, there's no late-night stress, just a super clean, highly actionable workflow. Now, the reason that 5-step process is so incredibly fluid really comes down to a few very specific benefits. It's a mobile-first workflow that runs right on any smartphone. It features true offline counting, which, as we know, is absolutely crucial in those giant metal distribution centers with spotty Wi-Fi. It also has built-in barcode scanning to totally eliminate those costly transcription errors we talked about earlier. Everything eventually syncs right up to real-time cloud dashboards. And there's a quick setup with zero ERP migration required. The really crucial takeaway here is the desk-bound tools force this broken workflow, where staff count on paper and then have to walk all the way back to a terminal. This software removes that entire bottleneck completely.
Let's ground all this in reality with a quick business story. Imagine a mid-sized distributor. Before they used cycle counting software, they suffered through those brutal quarterly 2-day shutdowns, messy, manual paper counts, and errors that were literally impossible to trace because the trail had gone cold weeks ago. But after transitioning to this system, they shifted to weekly, high-velocity mobile counts. No operational shutdowns at all. And the best part? Discrepancies were flagged within hours, right when the causes were still traceable. I mean, it's a complete night-and-day transformation.
And hey, this isn't just hypothetical stuff. The source material highlights some fantastic real-world case studies across diverse industries that really build trust in this whole methodology. For instance, Velavan Motorcycles successfully moved their multi-location parts audits entirely off paper registers and onto synced mobile counts. Or take Lumino Industry. They're a manufacturing company that applied this exact same approach to their raw materials, and they actually caught miscounts before they could result in halted production runs. So whether you're in retail, distribution, or heavy manufacturing, this setup works perfectly. When businesses finally make this switch, the impact on efficiency is just massive. We're talking about a 70% drop in audit time per cycle. That's what businesses typically report after ditching the paper and moving to mobile, barcode-based counts. Just think about that. You are getting vastly superior, highly accurate data in less than a third of the time it used to take.
I actually want to share a quote directly from the source material that I think perfectly captures the energy of this shift. Quote, "Ready to stop counting on hope? Your first accurate audit could be running by this time next week." I love that. It's a powerful, punchy call to action for any operations manager who is just totally burned out by the old, broken way of doing things.
Which brings us to our final slide today, and a provocative question I really want to leave you chewing on. If 20% of your inventory loss is entirely preventable administrative error, what is counting on hope actually costing your business this year? It's time to stop flying blind and start actually taking control of your data. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this breakdown empowers you to finally put an end to the inventory nightmare for good.